I'm Abigail, and I'm going to be talking about how to write comedy. Comedy is, I think, one of the hardest things to write, mostly because no one really talks about how to be funny. People talk about, character, plot twists, all of these things, but they don't talk about how to write a good joke. But when you pull it off, humor can do so much more than sitcoms and stand-up. Short aside, I'm completely aware that explaining comedy is kind of like shooting yourself in the foot. No one likes to explain jokes, but hopefully you'll come away with this knowing the mechanics and be able to write it for yourself, so you don't have to explain your jokes to anyone. Hi, I'm Abby.
So, why do we write comedy? Well, for starters, adding humor is a great way to flesh out your characters. Readers are more likely to believe your character is like a real person if that character makes them laugh in some way. It can also add levity to your story. While not every character has to be funny things can happen to even your most stoic of characters. In darker stories, this can add a much-needed break from all of the heaviness. But the most important thing humor can do, at least in my opinion, is give you more control over your story's emotional impact. If your reader has been bombarded by devastation the whole book, your main character's best friend dying isn't going to feel like a shock anymore. It's just going to be one bad thing to add to the pile. But if you have dialogue throughout the story full of witty banter between these two friends, the death of one of them is going to hit much harder. You may even make the reader cry, which, in my book, is a plus. So how do we write comedy? Jerome Stern has some interesting insights into what technical skills go into contributing to effective humor. A firm control of diction, image, the rhythms of language, cadenced imagery, and phrasing. All of these things are actually really intelligent to pull off. So humor takes a myriad of skills combined together, and that overall contributes to the effectiveness of your jokes. In the simplest of words, seeing something is funny when it subverts our expectations. So let's look at this snippet from Sea Oak. If we had our diplomas, we could just watch TV and not be all distracted. They debate how many sides a triangle has. They agree that Churchill was an opera. It's funny because we don't expect someone to be so mind-blowingly ignorant. I always crack up at they debate how many sides a triangle has because I imagine an open book on their laps with a triangle on it, and how can they not count to 3? Let's take another example. If you've seen Friends, you probably remember this scene. Count how many times something happens that subverts your expectations in a funny way.
Come on, you're single. Have some hormones.
See, but I don't want to be single, okay? I just want to be married again.
And I just want $1 million.
Rachel? Oh, God, Monica, hi. Thank God. I just went to your building and you weren't there, and then this guy with a big hammer said that you might be here. You are.
Can I get you some coffee?
Decaf. Okay, everybody, this is Rachel, another Lincoln High survivor. This is everybody. This is Chandler and Phoebe and Joey. And you remember my brother Ross? Sure.
Hey.
Hi. So you want to tell us now, or are we waiting for 4 wet bridesmaids?
Oh, God. Well, it started about a half hour before the wedding. I was in this room where we were keeping all the presents, and I was looking at this gravy boat, this really gorgeous Limoges gravy boat. When all of a sudden, sweet and low, I realized that I was more turned on by this gravy boat than by Barry. And then I got really freaked out, and that's when it hit me how much Barry looks like Mr. Potato Head. I always knew he looked familiar, but... Anyway, I just had to get out of there, and I started wondering, why am I doing this, and who am I doing this for? So anyway, I just didn't know where to go, and I know that you and I have kind of drifted apart, but You're the only person I knew who lived here in the city.
Who wasn't invited to the wedding?
Oh, I was kind of hoping that wouldn't be an issue.
I counted 11, and that's insane for only about 2 minutes of content.
Come on, you're single.
So how I usually go about writing humor is this. I think about the tone I want to convey for the story. For example, in the story I did for class, Peachy, I knew I wanted it to be kind of bleak, so that made room for a dark, humorous kind of story. Next, I think about character. In Peachy, I knew it would make sense for a dark humor story to have a cynical and snarky character. Also, contrasting serious imagery with ridiculous imagery works too, like using a jerry-rigged t-shirt cannon that shoots food cans to take out an alien. Finally, for me, the easiest way to put humor into a story is via dialogue, especially arguments. So, for the exercise, you can pause the video to write down all the specifics of what to do, but the main goal is this. You're going to write an argument between two characters, leaning into the words of these characters for everything. Personality, plot progression, backstory, and you're going to use the vehicle of verbal humor to do all of this. The clip from Friends is an excellent example of how to do this. Remember that this is only one kind of humor among many that I've talked mostly about. I like sarcastic banter, but others prefer slapstick. Also, don't stress about it. Not everyone gets every joke nailed on the first try. At the end of the day, what's most important is that you're laughing at what you write. Happy writing. Good luck.